Time now for 1 full hour of nitro-fueled NHRA talk. It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. Now, here are your hosts, Marty Hough and 10-time NHRA winner, Doug Herbert.
This is The Straight Line on Drag Racing. Thanks for being here for our 1 hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. Pro Stock Motorcycle debuts this weekend, and we've got you covered. Defending champion Andrew Hines, two-time Gatornational winner Steve Johnson, and two-time champion Matt Smith will all be here. We'll also get an update from our good friend from Fox Sports, Dave Rieff. The burnout is complete, and we're set to launch another edition of The Straight Line. Wherever you may be, coast to coast, around the world, you are watching and listening to The Straight Line here on MRN.com. Along with four-time IHRA Top Fuel champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner who will join us here in just a moment, Doug Herbert, I'm Marty Hough. Gatornationals coming up, and it is always a busy time when you get to the Gatornationals for a lot of different reasons. It's one of the most important drag races that we run all year long, and we're also adding a pro category to the mix as the Pro Stock motorcycles get on board here for the 2016 season. And coming up, we have three very experienced and great guests coming up on the Straight Line. Steve Johnson will be here along with Andrew Hines and Matt Smith. But joining us on the telephone line right now is the lead announcer for Fox Sports coverage of NHRA Mello, Yello drag racing. Dave Rieff joins us. Dave, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Fired up, obviously, to get down to Florida and kick off one of these big major events that the NHRA hosts. And it's kind of like a homecoming because I spent a lot of years down there, and for first chance for everybody on the East Coast to get everybody together, it's always a whiz-bang time in Gainesville. Now,
we like to say when somebody has a new sponsor, a new manufacturer, it's kind of weird. I mean, when John Force went to Chevy, I mean, that was always weird to be able to say John Force in Chevy. But announcing Dave Rieff as Fox Sports lead announcer is a little bit of a challenge as of right now. Have you adjusted to the new digs, and what's been your biggest adjustment in jumping over to Fox now?
Well, it's going about like we expected it to be. It's interesting. You know, you talked about changes in making the change over to Fox. We've got a lot of new people in new places. We've got a fair amount of the knowledgeable folks from the ESPNer that have come in. And so it's a nice sprinkling and a nice new team. And that's what we're trying to develop right now, is that teamwork and that chemistry. No different than any of the Nitro teams or any of the Pro Stock teams that have gone through a couple of changes here or there. But it was interesting. I spent a little time in Phoenix talking with Erica Andrews-Stevens and talking about some of the things that they're having to go through with the new Pro Stock rules changes with the electronic fuel injection and the hood scoops being gone, the shorter wheelie bars. And of course, Erica having to do it along with Jed Coughlin in a new manufacturer as well, getting Mopar brand back in there. So it's all new. And as I'm sitting here listening to her, she's talking about this little growing pain over here and getting adapted to this over there. And I'm thinking to myself, this sounds like a carbon copy of what we're going through. You can just lay that TV template right over the top of that, and it's the same kind of thing. But, you know, we continue to work through all of these growing pains. We're growing in leaps and bounds. And, you know, gosh, I was looking at the schedule. So much live this year, and that is what really excites me about this, is the opportunity to be able to bring this to the world, bring it to you live, bring it to you in a good time slot, you know, have a little play back and forth with Fox and their other sports, and we've got a good sprinkling of that going on. So, hey, things continue to just be on the rise.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What are the challenges now of going to 4 pro categories? You get to add one this week.
We do, and it's great to get the bikes back. You know, it always seems a little strange to start the season, you know, coming off of that 3-month break with all of the excitement and the way the season wraps up with the countdown to the championships and having everybody at the race. So you kind of feel like something's missing, and that something is the Pro Stock motorcycles. And we'll get them back this weekend. And There's a lot of talk about some of the changes and things that have gone on there. A lot of drivers have tested very, very well, and golly, I hate to rain on anybody's parade. I think these guys are on it. They realize that this is the year that 200-mile-per-hour barrier is going to get broken on two wheels, and it could happen as early as this weekend with the forecast we've got going. It could be a little hit and miss. We could be dodging some drops, but when you got a forecast that calls for low 70s on Sunday, perhaps you get that Pro Stock motorcycle category a little tailwind. We could hit 200 this weekend.
Hey, Dave, Herbert here. I remember when we had when Bernstein ran 300 out there in '92. We had a good tailwind that year for him, and then he ran and it died. He had to deal with God, I think, on that.
You know what? Sometimes divine intervention does have to happen, and it can certainly happen this weekend. I know the Harleys have been testing their butts off. I've been following most everybody on Twitter, and Angel and that Star team got together here in the last couple of days, and I've never seen Angel so fired up running numbers she's never ran, so wouldn't surprise me at all if it happens.
Tell us, what do you attribute the ratings, the pretty tremendous ratings increase, the time slots, something new, the cross promotion with the other Fox Sports? What do you think?
I think you're hitting all the nails on the right head. I mean,
yep.
You get a fair amount of folks that you may have lost over the years to tune in and see what's different, so they're going to come back and check it out. We'll tell all those people, hey, just stay patient with us. We know we've had some graphic hiccups and things like that we're continuing to get ironed out. But I continue to say the potential is there, and with those time slots, that being the next big thing, starting very close to on time, and certainly in a better slot, that's going to bring out a whole new crowd that says, you know what, I'll give it a try again. I think the idea of having those live programming slots too, and that adds a lot of excitement, not only to the people in the booth, not only the people at the stands, but, everybody at home says, I'm going to be able to see it before I hear about it, and that is big. And then obviously, I think we got some exciting things happening. I like what the NHRA is doing with regards to doing a lot more features and stuff like that. Now, we've had our challenges of getting those weaved into shows as we get the whole cast and crew used to the pace of an NHRA race. Continue to tell everybody that'll listen, this isn't like NASCAR. This isn't like a Saturday night dirt track. When they throw a green flag, there's 20 laps. There might be a couple of yellows in there, and then there's a checker flag. We don't have that. We kind of have a lot of starting and a lot of stopping. There's a pacing and a cadence that you got to get used to, especially when you're in the taped produced segments that lead into the live. But once you get to that live event, boy, there's nothing that beats 45 minutes, 60 minutes, an hour and a half of excitement. I love it. I think all of those things certainly are attributing to the numbers the NHRA is seeing.
Couple of events into the 2016 season. Anything in particular that has grabbed your attention, either good or bad?
Well, if you start in the Pro Stack category, it's just certainly the work the KV crew has done over the off season. They really kind of got the tail on, the dog by the tail, I guess you might say here. And Bo Butner has been unbelievable. And it's great having that extra Pro Stock mind out there. Bruno Massel's just doing an incredible job. A guy who's driven these cars and really brings an extra set of insight, especially when it comes to a guy like Bo Butner. So much of his winning on the Lucas scene was done in fuel-injected cars. So from a driving standpoint, in the fine-tuning of getting a car, up on the revs in the staging, and just they talk about it, drivability. And as a guy who's never driven, I just have to take them for their word. But you can hear the things on the in-car cameras. Like, for instance, Greg Anderson. When those cars hit the rev limiter, you can kind of hear a little popping in the last, little split second. And that's something that Bo's done so well. And so Bo has been an unbelievable pleasant surprise in Pro Stock. And you have to bring up both Brittany and Leah. I mean, Leah being able to come back and get that top fuel win and only the second all-female top fuel final ever. And then to have Shirley here this weekend in Gainesville, it doesn't get any better than that. And Funny Car, Funny Car is going to be what Funny Car has been for the last 10 years. It's going to be a dogfight, and the storyline is going to change every week in that category.
You mentioned the 200-mile-an-hour Pro Stock deal. What's some of your other expectations coming up, Dave, for this year in the season? Not only with the TV, but in competition, what you're seeing.
Well, I don't think there's any reason to expect anything to change competition-wise, and that's really the benchmark and the hallmark of what every event's going to be about. Because so much is not just horsepower anymore. There was a day, there was an age where, Bob Glidden, where Warren Johnson, where Grumpy Jenkins, where John Force, you could kind of create your own luck because you had so much power and you could outrun everybody. And it seems like everybody's that playing field just gets narrower and narrower and narrower this year. So as far as the competition goes, and I've been saying that for, the last 4 or 5 years. I'm not sure that it changed as dramatically as I think it did, or if I just started paying attention and being marveled more by it. But it's definitely been intense there for sure. And you know what I'd really love to see? I'd really like to see pro stock motorcycle get dicey, and it's shown at times that it certainly can. But who knows? Maybe Andrew and Eddie will have a couple people to look over their shoulders at this year.
Yeah, one of the cool things about your coverage this year on Fox Sports, 2 different qualifying shows, a Friday show and a Saturday show, and I'll give the rundown for this weekend at Gainesville. 9 o'clock on Friday, in a full Friday show or a recap of Friday qualifying, but not 2 shows combined like it was on ESPN. Then a Saturday show, 6:30 p.m., and then live coming back on Sunday at 1 o'clock. So if you're expecting that 5 o'clock time slot or what it has been on the West Coast, readjust 1 o'clock. Talk a little bit here before we wrap it up about that Friday show, because it's a little bit new for you guys where you're not combining qualifying altogether. It's 2 qualifying shows during the weekend.
It is, and it's been a little bit of a challenge so far because you want to make sure that you can cover as much as you can. So that Friday show, it's a good opportunity to get everybody's appetite kind of wet a little bit as far as the big stories that are heading into the weekend, and then covering some of the qualifying. That's going to be our biggest challenge. Is unfortunately, when you take a 60-minute show, realizing that there are the commercial breaks in there, you're talking about 42, 43 minutes of actual content.
Right.
So getting everybody up to speed, getting those guys in the truck that don't know about the pacing, and then realizing what stories we need to tell and learning how to weave those, that's going to be key for that Friday night show. But since the bulk majority of a lot of times, especially when we get to the summer, those Friday nights are the hero or zero runs. The Friday nights has been good. It has from the ESPN era when we used to do it on the computer there, and I think it's got that potential here once again, especially with the debut of the what does the NHRA call it again, where everybody can basically watch all the time. I obviously will not be. I will be there watching all the time anyway, so it's not like I need to do that on my computer.
But if you're streaming it,
and they've made that affordable for fans too, which
right.
is going to be really cool. It's $99, breaks down to about $4 or $5 a weekend, and you can have 24/7 access. If there's a car on the racetrack, it's going to get covered, and you can watch it whether it's Competition Eliminator, whether it's Top Sportsman, or whether it's Pro Stock or Top Fuel.
That's cool. Hey, as we're wrapping up, Dave, I want to be sure and invite you out for our golf tournament, April 21st, the Thursday before the ZMAX race. Love to have you come out and hit some golf balls with us if you have a chance.
I'll tell you what, golf and me, I've started to actually get along.
Wow.
So, and as one of my next phone calls, we'll be planning that Charlotte trip. So maybe I'll put some pen to paper here, see if I can make that happen. I'd love to come out and support it. It's a great cause, and I still got to get a kid. Well, probably 2 kids through that program now. You just need to bring them to Charlotte, or I'm trying to think what the closest thing to Omaha area, but we'll figure some way out. But you need to just bring them. Doesn't matter where, just bring them. Listen, I appreciate you guys and appreciate the opportunity here to just again remind fans that are a little bit more used to certain things happening on these television shows. Just give us some time because we got a very energetic crew, a very good team. And with a great partner in Fox Sports and a great relationship there and some great time slots, I know the television thing is going to continue to grow by leaps and bounds this year.
Dave Rieff, lead announcer for Fox Sports coverage of NHRA, Mello, Yello, drag racing. Dave Rieff joining us on the telephone line. And when we return, we will talk to the defending and 5-time pro bike champion, Andrew Hines, will join us next.
This is The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires.
Okay.
More right after this.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Spring Break Deals event. Take advantage of O'Reilly's Do It Right rebate and get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Waking up to smells of burnt rubber, smoldering campfire, and barbecue sauce. I was there, cheering on the drivers you love and booing the ones you don't, while watching them battle the baddest track in NASCAR. You can bet I was there. Escape reality for a weekend at Talladega.
Experience the Geico 500 April 29th through May 1st. Call 877-GO-TO-DEGA or visit TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation or the perfect romantic retreat? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. Discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service on Daytona Beach. The Plaza Resort and Spa is the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. Now here's more with Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Thanks for being here with us on The Straight Line. And joining us on the telephone line right now is the driver of the Vance & Hines Screaming Eagle Harley-Davidson V-Rod, 5-time and defending champion of the NHRA Pro Bike Motorcycle class. Andrew Hines joins us. Andrew, thanks for being here, champ.
Yeah, no problem, guys. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How's the off season been? You guys are pretty busy, not only with your Harley stuff, but all your Vance & Hines stuff as well.
Yeah, it hasn't been too eventful. We just finally got down to Valdosta, Georgia here the last couple days and had a chance to do some testing. But, we spend most of our time cooped up in our shop when it's cold and snowing outside, working on the dyno, trying to find more horsepower. So that was kind of our normal plan, just like years past, was burning some Sunoco race gas on the dyno and trying to figure out our next evolution in performance. So seems like we found a little bit. We ran pretty well in testing and put up some good speeds. So should be making out for a good year so far.
It's interesting when most of the teams that are down here in the North Carolina area or Georgia or maybe Florida, they can get out every once in a while during the spring and get a bike down and make some laps. You guys up in Indianapolis, that's really hard to do. So your testing actually comes more than likely on a dyno.
Yeah, it's just not conducive for us to drive 1,000 miles down to Florida and test for a couple days and then drive home. It's just it's more productive for us to stay back at the shop and order parts or design new things that we think may help us and work on the dyno. And with us being naturally aspirated and not really able to rotate the earth like a nitro car, it's better for us to just find the horsepower, because if we find horsepower, it's going to go down the track quicker no matter what. So we kind of put all our eggs in one basket with dedicating time to research and development with plugging away on the dyno countless times. And I think we got somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 dyno pulls this off season, so not as grueling as a couple years past where we were making 300 to 400. But we had a good position last year with the power we were making and the times we were putting up on the scoreboard, and people got closer there at the end, so we knew we needed to dig a little harder and find a little more. And it seems like we found a couple horsepower, and we're seeming to be a couple mile an hour faster than we were last year. So a little more consistent, have a little more tunability, it looks like, for the changes we made inside the engine. And it was productive overall. I think we came away with our test session here on Monday and Tuesday as thinking it was one of our better test sessions ever. So between Eddie and myself, we made 24 runs, 12 on each bike. So we're happy, and I'm actually sitting in Gainesville right now waiting for our truck to park so we can set it up and get tech going and do some valve spring changing for the first run on Friday.
Oh, you guys will be setting up the awning. We always talk to you and Eddie when you guys are out there setting up the awning.
Yeah. I thought this was going to happen at 12:30 today because that's kind of our normal time slot. So when I saw it was 4:30, I was like, man, I'm actually going to be done tearing down and be able to talk to these guys without running around.
Hey, Andrew, one of the things, obviously one of the biggest things this year is the anticipation of the Pro Stock motorcycles breaking 200-mile-an-hour barrier. What is it going to take from you guys to go 200 miles an hour? Is it engine stuff? Is it aero stuff? Can you change that? What are things that you guys can control that you're working on to try and test it?
It's all related to horsepower and being naturally aspirated. We got to have the right conditions. So, being in the South, near sea level, Charlotte and Florida, Gainesville, you get, good barometer because they're closer to sea level. And as I'm sitting here right now, the wind is blowing straight down the track with a tailwind, so that's a big plus. So I know the weather's going to cool off. We may have potential for that nasty R word in the forecast, but if we can keep the track dry and keep the wind blowing straight down the track, there may be potentially might see a couple motorcycles go 200 miles per hour in one of the qualifying sessions. And
wow!
Heck, it might even happen in the same pair, and it might determine who got the win light on that run for who gets credit for having the first 200. So that'd be pretty stellar to see that pop up on the scoreboard. Gainesville has a lot of history of breaking national records and milestones, so there's no reason it can't happen this weekend with the weather we're going to see.
Well, and you have a history at Gainesville as well. When Harley-Davidson made its return to NHRA drag racing back in the early 2000s, you were the first guy there and the first guy to be holding the Wally for Harley-Davidson in its current regime.
Yeah, my first win was the first win for Harley, as the official, the backing of a factory team. So, that's always on my mind. And then the next year we came in here and set the record for 6:99, the first one to run under 7 seconds. So got a good history here. Just need to get one back on the board here more currently. That was a decade ago plus. So we're working our way towards that, and it's nice to be backed by the motor company. They do a phenomenal job marketing their street motorcycles to the masses, and we're just a little part of that. Trying to help them push their motorcycles so they can sell on Monday, and we're here for the long haul, and we'll see what we can do to keep supporting them as long as they keep having the faith in us.
Yeah, well, and does most of the guys still, like your dad and Terry and all them, still come to the races on a pretty regular basis?
Absolutely. Yep. Terry he'll make it to half dozen or so races a year, and same thing with my father. It's they don't go to every race like they used to, but they're always working in the background. Terry still handles a lot of the sponsorship agreements and things, and my father still handles a lot of our R&D help. So Vance and Hines is still proud and strong in our camp, and the two main guys are still the driving force behind it. So
that's cool.
We're pumped to be a part of that. It's been a long time, 35 years history of Vance and Hines. So it's a long road, and they've been involved in pro stock motorcycles since the start. So it's cool to be on that side of the history books, and have backing with my father and Terry, and we got a good group of guys that have been assembled for nearly 15 years now, going to all these races. So we're well seasoned.
No kidding. Well, that is awesome. Hey, we'd love to see you at our Breaks Golf Tournament on Thursday, April 21st, before the 4-wide race. If you get a chance to come in and you have the desire to go out and swing some golf clubs, we'd love to hear from you and have you come out and join us.
It's entirely embarrassing if I
go. Hey, you guys are always experimenting with different paint jobs, usually a couple of year. What are we expecting this year?
Well, we just put new paint on the bikes this morning before we left Valdosta. So we had to pick them up at the Valdosta airport, and we mounted them, and then we drove down south to Gainesville. So new look, same style body, still a V-Rod body, and just something we haven't had before. So they're flip-flop color, so it may be a little easier to tell Eddie and I apart. One bike's orange on one side and black on the other, and then flip-flop for the other one. So it's a new look. It's done by our normal painters that paint the custom paint sets for Harley-Davidson. They also paint the Screaming Eagle bodywork for the CVO bikes. Gunslinger paint out of Golden, Colorado. Same guys that paint our helmets. So we appreciate the support we get from Harley for being able to bring out different paint maybe a couple times a year. And this year we got it on the bike for the first race. So It's going to look different. So keep your eyes open.
I did see at Pomona. You obviously, and as you've stated, your family is entrenched in drag racing. but you're not just showing up at the bike races. You're also just there. If there's a drag race, you're probably going to be there. And I did see you walking around at Pomona, and just to be there. Just kind of talk about that experience when you're not competing.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of the sport in general. I love every class that's out here, and I'm not just a motorcycle guy. I love watching every class. We'll go talk about all the sportsman guys running, and we'll go sit in the stands and watch Super Stock and Super Comp and watch those guys drive the finish line too. So I love every aspect of it. It's in my blood. It's pretty much all I've known my entire life has been drag racing. So being around it, I enjoy it, and we made a weekend out of it. I took my wife out there with me, and we had an adult weekend. We left my little 5-year-old boy Declan at home, and had a good time with it. It was nice to get some hardware there. I got the championship ring, but I'll make it to a few events a year where we're not actually racing, just to go enjoy it and be a fan and sit in the stands and soak it all in and go back to that side of it. It's nice to do that, but man, by the time Sunday rolls around, I start getting the itch, and I'm really wanting to get on my Harley.
You're talking about that long time being around the race and with your dad and with Terry. And I remember going to OCIR back, I don't know, I guess it was mid to early 80s, and watching Terry run that Top Fuel bike. And even before that, he was running, I don't even remember what
double engine Honda.
Yeah, I mean, they've had so many neat bikes out there over the years, and what a bunch of great guys. You guys just do an awesome job. Awesome representing Harley Davidson now, and Vance and Hines has just always been something.
Yeah, there's always stories flowing out of those guys. So if you ever have a minute, just talk to them and just talk about the old times. They get all nostalgic and they can remember ETs of what they ran at this event and this year and who they ran in the final round here. It's amazing the stats that'll come flying out of my dad, Terry. So it's a good time talking to them and hearing some of the old stuff. And sometimes you always think you heard it all, and they'll come out with a couple of new stories like, wow, I haven't heard that one before. So it's very entertaining having them in the family.
They were sandbagging on the stories. They didn't want to tell them all to you at once.
Driver of the Vance and Hines Screaming Eagle, Harley Davidson V-Rod, and he's the 5-time and defending champion of the pro bike category. Andrew Hines, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Good luck this weekend in Gainesville.
Thank you, guys. I always enjoy being on MRN, and we're looking forward to this weekend. It should be a fast one, and it's going to be our East Coast opener for Pro Stock Motorcycles, so we're looking forward to it.
All right, and we'll see you here in about a month or so when you come up here to Charlotte.
All right, thanks, guys.
Andrew Hines, and he is the defending champion of the category. When we return, we will talk to our good friend Steve Johnson. Joins us next.
It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. We'll have more right after this.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Are you ready?
To help children forget about their serious medical conditions so they can just be a kid. Then support Victory Junction, which is the dream of late race driver Adam Petty, who wanted to build a camp where children concentrate on fun and laughter, not illness or disability. At Victory Junction, kids enjoy ziplining, horseback riding, swimming, fishing, all in a medically safe environment, all at no cost to the camper. What do you say, Richard Petty?
Let's do this.
Learn more at victoryjunction.org.
Race fans, you know there's nothing like the power, excitement, and sounds of NASCAR. Ever wonder what it would be like to strap yourself in the seat of an authentic NASCAR race car? You can do it at the Richard Petty Driving Experience. Ride along or drive yourself at one of 15 tracks nationwide. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit online at drivepetty.com. Richard Petty Driving Experience. It's authentic NASCAR entertainment. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit drivepetty.com to reserve your experience.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. Here's more with Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Big thanks to Dave Rieff and Andrew Hines for joining us on today's program. And joining us right now on the telephone line is two-time U.S. Nationals champion and two-time Gatornationals champion. Our good friend Steve Johnson joins us. Hello, Steve-O.
Hey, how you doing?
You know, I've never heard you that mellow before. What's going on, Steve? You okay?
The segment must be running long, folks. You're still tuned in. Yes, the show's it's running a little long today. They had Andrew Hines, the world champ, 3-time, 4-time, or however, and now they've got me.
Steve, okay, you're downplaying yourself. You're the spokesperson for Pro Stock Motorcycle, and you have been for a long time.
Yeah, but I just, we all have our challenges in life, and I'm fortunate to race for sure. But I mean, you got the factory Harley Davidson team, and if you could be a fly on the wall on my place in the last 2 months, you'd say, "Wow, this is the polar opposites right here." So,
oh, geez.
Anyway.
Okay, no, well, hey, you know what, Steve? Guess what? You're a buddy. We're happy to have you on the show.
No doubt.
You won the Gatornationals. You know what it takes to win. What's your expectations for 2016?
Well, 2016 is, I actually thought a lot about it, and I thought, you know what? If we just hang around and get funding towards the end of the year, we have as good a chance to win the championship as anybody. You just have to make sure that you're in the top 10 after 10 races. That's, you watch the Cup thing and how that whole deal unfolds. You can have a really, really awesome car, motorcycle, swimmer, badminton, whatever it is, and you just got to be there when the rules change and they go into the countdown. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to survive and make it into the countdown, and then hopefully get some funding.
Hey, Tonglet proved that you could do that a couple of years ago. He was just kind of hanging on by a thread by the time he got to the U.S. Nationals, and then all of a sudden, they just kind of figured it out, and he went all the way to the championship. I mean, that's exactly what you're talking about right there, Steve. It's definitely doable.
Geez, there's a map, and it's not even it's not even an Apple map.
Boom.
It's right here on Straight Line.
Exactly. Exactly. You figured it out.
Well, there's not a lot of things that I have figured out. Just when I think I have figured out something, it bites me in the butt. I learned a lot this week, and hey, you know what? If you ever hook up an inverter in your tractor, because we run generators and runs the diesel fuel, so you run an inverter, you just run batteries, right? So I'm messing around and I wired it myself, and I can do anything at least once. So anyway, somehow I got some wires crossed or something, and I turned the thing on. I'm in the trailer. Now, if you've never heard an electrical problem before, usually you can imagine a sizzle, a little smoke, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, what I did, if you've ever gotten mad at your mom and dad and slammed your door as hard as it will slam, that noise that it makes, or like when the wind sucks the door shut and it just boom, it shuts, and this was 10 times louder than that.
Oh, no.
It sounds expensive, though, Steve.
Oh, my God. There's a little shorty over here in Irondale. The lights went blink, blink, and I'm like, oh, my God. So I still don't know what I did. I got another one, though. They sent me a new one. I said, hey, something's wrong with this one.
You better double-check your wiring diagram then, right? Oh, man.
What's the wiring diagram?
Yeah. Oh, no.
There's
Steve, what did you do? What did you do this off season, and were you able to get down to Valdosta and do any testing?
We actually thought a lot about testing, but we never did it. We've been watching on the internet. Everybody's testing and going fast and doing all this stuff. We watched from our trailer. We watched from our shop. So it's just been different. I do have a T-shirt though, a 30th anniversary T-shirt.
Hey,
all right. Where would a fan go to get one of those, Steve?
Our website, SteveJohnsonRacing.com, and there's a 30th anniversary T-shirt right there, and you can buy one, and hey, it's funny, all the things that are on there that has happened in 30 years. Some of the things haven't happened to people in their entire lifetime. I've taken out a roof at the La Quinta, divorces and dead dogs and lots of miles. And I just go onto my website and look at that shirt. It's a kick.
And now you can add to it miswired generators.
Yeah, when I do my second revision.
Yeah, there you go. I like this.
Yeah, short circuit a transformer in Irondale, Alabama.
Bang.
Well, hey, Steve. One of the cool things that you do that I following you on Twitter and Facebook and so forth is you get onto an airplane, you see a uniformed soldier get on, and because you fly a lot of miles, you get upgrades and so forth. You get up out of your seat, you swap seats with that soldier. I think that is cool.
Yeah.
You should be commended for that, and I'm proud that you're my friend. I'm proud that to have you do stuff like that. That is so neat, and I know that means a lot. And you've got a lot of good stories just from being able to change somebody's day like that.
Oh, that's cool that you bring that. I love that you brought that up. The Seattle football player guy did it, and it was all over the news. And people are emailing me and tweeting me and saying, "You've done this for so whatever." But I do love doing it. I mean, my deal, especially at Christmas time, I tell them, because on Atlanta to LA, those flights are long. They're 5-hour flights, and sometimes you get those lay down seats, and the flight attendants bring you the food, and there's a USB plug, there's your own movies, you get your headset, you get eye things to cover your eyes if you can't sleep, and blah blah. Anyway, so when you get somebody says you're going to give your seat up, and I'm like, you're going to ride 5 hours in the back in flight or in seat 39Z, but that the soldier is going to have that night, but you're going to remember that for a lifetime.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost selfish the other way. It's like the love that I'm going to get out of giving somebody something, especially somebody that's protecting our freedom. It's so cool. For 5 hours you get to give them, and they love it. I did it one time on Mother's Day, and there were a bunch of soldiers in there, and I just told them pick a number between 1 and 100. And the only girl on the flight that was a soldier, which I should have given it to her anyway, she picked number 1, and I'm like, well, I'm a racer, and you were smart. So she got it, and she's been the only person. She wrote me a note on a piece of paper, had some Bible scripture thing at the bottom, like of her notepad. But
nice.
This lady came up and said, "Thank you so much." That was her stepson that I did that for, and she was sitting back there, and the veterans. I mean, you get so many cool stories, and I would encourage people to, you don't have to fly a lot. I got 3.5 million miles, but you can do anything and give something to somebody, and it makes it so much more valuable when you share it.
Yep.
Something you also do, Steve, and you do a lot of, and again, we see this on social media and other platforms, is that you work with a lot of young people through trade schools. Talk about that and why you think that's important.
Well, these kids all go to school, and I'm saying kids because they're 20, but they're I try to tell them that they're a brand, and it's like, you don't have 50 stores across the country. You don't have a product at Walmart that's selling and stuff. You have your thoughts, and your thoughts are your intellectual property, and you need to understand that to be able to take those thoughts, to take your education and take your personality, that's your brand, and it's free. You can make what you want of it if you never show up to school and you get a horrible attendance. I mean, that's your show. But I explained to them that if you're the best student and you get along and you can do all these things, you increase your brand while you're in school, and your soul remembers that like a video camera. You don't even know it. And then when you walk into a meeting, like for simple as an interview, it just oozes out of you. I have a whole program about how to prepare for that, but my point is Nicki Minaj. We all know Nicki Minaj. She's a singer, and she's got a brand, and Taylor Swift, she's got a brand, and Prince. They're all very, very different. But if Taylor Swift's having a party, Nicki's not coming to it. If Nicki's having a party, Taylor's probably not coming to it. But if Prince has got a party, they're all coming to it because everybody knows Prince is hooked up with all the movie people, all the producers, all the big wheels. And so that's the difference. They're all singers, which is a brand, but they're all brands that are completely different. And that's what I want to get the students to understand.
Well, there you go. Hey, Steve, another thing. Obviously, you've been a friend of mine for a long time. You were friends with my boys, right? They loved you. And so we are looking forward to our Breaks Golf Tournament on April 21st. So hopefully you can come out and play golf or at least drive a golf cart around or something for us on April 21st. Yeah.
Oh, no. I know the golf course. I'm going to be there for sure. Hey, right. I can hit a ball over trying to aim for those electrical boxes or something like that.
Well, and get Mike Wallace because you hang out usually here in Charlotte with Mike Wallace if you're not hanging out with us. So tell Mike to be sure and come too. I think I told him, but you can be our backup Breaks board member.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be there, and not that I'm crying, about spilt milk or Vance and Hines got what they got, and we got what our got. But I will tell you, when we go to Charlotte, we are as pimped as it comes. We stay at the Wallaces, Carla and Mike Wallace's, and this place is like, I don't know, 20,000 square feet. It is pimp daddy. They buy the pizza. Oh,
Mike showed me your room. I went over there to visit, and I said, "What's this room? The windows were open. The fan was on. What the hell is going on here?" He goes, "That's where Steve. We just shut the door. That Steve stays in that room." Oh.
Well, hey, I love hanging out there. It is so cool there. So nice, and the kids are just rock stars, every one of them. But I got to tell you, this diet that I'm on, because we have Angel's coming back full time and lots of money, and Katie Sullivan, and she weighs 100 pounds, and all these girls. So I've been on this crash diet since January 7th. It's a nature's way, and you do everything like a lion or a tiger. A tiger lays around, right? And then when it sees something, it runs really, really fast. It's really, really flexible. It eats, and then it sleeps. So, and it's lean. It's lean as hell, like a deer. So I'm eating 8 ounces of lean protein, and then 1.5 pounds of vegetables. 1.5 pounds.
Wow.
It's like,
that's a bunch.
It's like you got to be calm to even eat that, and then when you're done eating that, you fall asleep. So.
Yeah.
I try to tell the guy that's doing this, I'm like, look, the only difference between this diet and what I have going on in reality is a tiger or a lion. They don't have a job, okay? I have a job. So how would you like to go to your work, and then it's like, oh, I fell asleep. Well, why did you fall? Well, I ate 1.5 pounds of vegetables.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, Steve, good luck down there in Gainesville. And we're just going to say you're the spokesperson for the Pro Stock Motorcycle class. So we love having you on. You're our buddy, and we'll look forward to seeing you here in a few weeks.
All right, I can't wait to do the golf tournament. Obviously, NHRA is on Fox. It's a great. They got a great TV package now. But hey, check out a T-shirt. I got to plug something. We didn't talk about piston speed. We didn't talk about clutches. We didn't talk about nothing. We talked about a pound of vegetables and who's got the best brand. So I'm sticking with my brand. It's going to rise to the top eventually, and I appreciate your brand at Straight Line Support and Drag Race.
SteveJohnson.com. SteveJohnsonRacing.com.
Yeah, Mello Yello, too. I didn't say Mello Yello drag
and
racing.
That, too.
It's not just drag racing. It's Mello Yello.
Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll see you when you get here in Charlotte here in about a month.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Steve Johnson, 2-time Gatornationals champion. And when we return, we'll have a 2-time Pro Stock Bike champion. Matt Smith will join us next.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. We'll have more right after this.
O'Reilly.
If
If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Spring Break Deals event. Take advantage of O'Reilly's Do It Right rebate and get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
NASCAR races are all about world-class, high-performance vehicles, and that's not just limited to the race cars. Freightliner Cascadia haulers transport the race cars and equipment from track to track 38 weekends of the year, keeping your favorite drivers in the race season after season. And from the engine to the seats to the dash, Freightliner specifically engineers its vehicles to give truck drivers a reliable, comfortable ride. Learn more about Freightliner truck models at FreightlinerTrucks.com.
Don't miss the first ever Country 500, the Great American Music Fest at Daytona International Speedway, Memorial Day weekend. Join Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Kid Rock, Lady Antebellum, Florida Georgia Line, Willie Nelson, and many more for 3 awesome days and nights of music, camping, and more on the infield of the World Center of Racing. Visit country500.com for more information.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. Now, back to Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
One of the drivers that's going to be a force to be reckoned with in 2016 in the pro bike category is the two-time NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle champ and driver of the Victory Gunner. Matt Smith joins us. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Hey, man, we are good. How's did you guys get the chance to go down and do some testing already, and you're ready to go for Gainesville?
Yeah, we had a test session 4 weeks ago down at Bradenton, and then we went back for the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday at Bradenton, and tested again. So we look like we're going to be really fast this year. We found about 12 horsepower over the winter, and I think that's going to parlay, hopefully, into where we can put this Victory Gunner in a winner's circle this year.
Well, that is cool. And one of the things that I know you've always do, just because I've known you forever, is you build all your own stuff, and do all your own work in the shop. And that, acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. I know I've known your dad for a long time, and his work ethic is pretty stout too. So you've got good genes, dude.
Yeah, ever since me and Mark Stockseth partnered up in 2007 and started this pro stock motorcycle deal, we've got a complete machine shop, our own dyno. We've got our own headquarter full time. So, like you said, we do everything in house, and even the guy right there in Charlotte, Dog Fabrication, he builds our chassis right there. So, we do everything ourselves, kind of.
Now, that's something cool. that came out in a press release here, and I didn't know this, and so it's out there, and maybe it's not anything that's being kept secret. But you, during the winter, talked about working with Elite Motorsports and trying to find horsepower. How did you get together with those guys?
Well, I just mentioned Mark Stockseth. He's been a partner of mine since '07, and he helps Jaggy and Erica with their deal. So it's just kind of he wanted to see us run a little bit better. We kind of struggled a little bit last year with this new brand. And so he talked to Richard Freeman and got us on board. And, we worked together there at the end of the year last year, and we worked all winter working on some stuff and, put our heads together and found some stuff.
Well, last year you had it figured out, at least from the standpoint you were number one qualifier at Gainesville, so you know how to go fast down there. What are you looking forward to this weekend coming up, Matt?
I'm looking for the same thing. We hired Rob Geiger to do all our media stuff, and it was funny. He brought the thing up, the stats up to me. He says, "Do you know what? The last 3 years you've either been number 1 or 2 qualifier all 3 years. I think 13 I was number 1, 14 I was number 2, and last year we was number 1. So we have a good bike to start the year, and we just have never got to put this thing in the winner's circle here. We've been a runner-up a couple times, but we're going to try to put this thing in the win circle and get Victory their first win."
How about is your dad running the Pro Mod car, and then Angie's running another bike down at Gainesville this year? How busy are you going to be running around down there?
Oh, yeah. Dad's running his Pro Mod. Victory, we have 2 bikes with me and Angie on the bike, so we're both riding, Victory Gunners. And then I have 2 team bikes that have always rented from me for the last 5 years, Michael Ray and Scotty Polachek on those bikes. So I'm definitely a busy guy.
Hey, hopefully you're not too busy to come play golf with us. You and your dad and Angie, I think, too, come on Thursday before the 4-wide race. We'd love to have you come play golf with us again this year, too.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be there for that. I think me and Michael Ray have got a team up to come do that. And,
cool.
You know, we can't shoot that 18 or 19 under like always wins, but, you know, we do shoot about 4 or 5 or 6 under, and, you know, we always have a fun time playing at your deal, you know, and it's a good cause, Doug.
That is super good. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. How about one thing that you talked about a little bit in that press release, and Marty and I were talking about it earlier. What's it going to take for you, your bikes or the Pro Stock bikes in general to break that 200-mile-an-hour barrier? And can it happen at Gainesville?
It can happen at Gainesville. Like today, we have a huge tailwind. There's probably a 12 to 15-mile-an-hour tailwind. So if you have that this weekend and no humidity and it's cool temperature and cloud cover, it's going to get broken. It might get broken by more than just one person, you know.
But conditions, it's not like you can just tune this thing up and make it go 200. The conditions have to be there, right, for this to happen. It's not like a real average type conditions that you're going to be able to run 200. Is that right, Matt? Not trying to put words in your mouth, but it seems like that the conditions are going to have to be there and everything kind of have to fall into place for that 200-mile-an-hour barrier to be broken, right?
Right. You're, you know, you have to. It's got to be around anywhere from 200 to 500 foot above sea level, or better. If it gets over 500 foot, it's probably not going to happen. And we're going to have about a 10 to 12 mile an hour tailwind. You know, and if those conditions line up, it will happen this weekend. I can promise you that it's going to happen if those two conditions line up.
Wow. Well, there you go. There you have it, folks. That's a pretty big prediction by you, Matt. So we will definitely be looking for it. And that's going to be an exciting, that'll be a lot of excitement, I think, injected into the Pro Stock motorcycle class, having 200-mile-an-hour bikes.
Yeah, you know, and you know, honestly, I mean, if we had about 15 to 20 more horsepower, you know, in the class, you know, between all the brands, you know, we would probably go over 200 a lot, you know, and I think that would make our class more exciting to the fans, you know, to see the bikes go over 200 at a lot of different racetracks. But until maybe NHRA can help the bikes get another 10 to 20 horsepower, you know, it's just going to be hard. The conditions are just going to have to line up to be able to do that.
And you know, I'm going to start not believing your dad's story about, you know, I'm about ready to give this thing up. You know, I don't know how many more years we can do this or whatever. He goes out there and kicks them young kids right in the tail just about every time, and he's going to be out there at Gainesville again kicking those young kids in the tail. Can't wait.
Yeah, he's you know, he got him a turbo car and he hasn't ran it yet, but he's got the quickest and fastest nitrous car in the world. You know, he went 577 at 251 testing.
Jeez.
I mean, he's going to be bad to the bone with that nitrous car. It's just those turbo cars might outrun him a little bit, but, you know, as long as IDG sticks with him in sponsorship, he's going to continue to run, and that's what he's told everybody. You know, when he loses that sponsor, then he's done. He's done.
Well, he's done it for an awful long time, and he's done an awful good job for a super long time. And proud to know you, and proud to have been friends with you guys for such a long time. And man, we're looking forward to you in Gainesville. How did the testing go? What was your guys' testing results down there earlier this year? Or
the first test we ran, we went 83 and 84 at 195. Had a little bit of a headwind. Down there the other day, yesterday and Monday, we had a huge headwind blowing straight up from the south, about 12 to 15 mile an hour, and we still went 86, you know, so 686 at 193. So we're going to be good. It's just, you know, the headwind and humidity kills the motorcycles. You know, if those two things don't happen, then we run pretty good.
Yep. Well, good luck down there this weekend at Gainesville. We'll be looking forward to it, and we're going to hold you to that 200-mile-an-hour prediction. So if you're either going to be really, really smart, or we're going to go, I don't know, Matt Smith, he stuck his neck out there. It didn't work.
Well, I'll tell you what, Doug. If you're watching on the live TV or what, I think they've got something new they're going to do this weekend. Fox is, from what I'm understanding, for all the fans at home. If you see it, cool. People's got long sleeve shirts on, and when the bikes do a burnout, if the smoke gets to the Christmas tree before the bike does, better look out.
Okay, that's good. Well, good luck down there, Matt. We appreciate it. Say hi to your dad.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Thank you.
Two-time NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Champ Matt Smith joining us here on the Straight Line. And when we return, we will wrap up another great edition of the show.
This is The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. More right after this. Get all the reactions and latest word from the track immediately following each race weekend on MRN's Motorsports Monday with Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Johnny Sauter drives the number 21 Chevrolet Silverado.
I didn't know that necessarily we'd win the first race of the year.
Log on to MRN.com every Monday at noon Eastern or stream the program from the MRN Media Center on demand. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, only on the Motor Racing Network.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcast elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, the host of NASCAR Live. We've been taking your calls every Tuesday night for over 30 years, but now you don't have to wait for Tuesday to let us know what's on your mind. Call Motor Racing Network's fan hotline at 844-4-ASK-MRN.
I enjoyed this past weekend's race. I didn't understand why Danica...
He can dish it out, but he can't take it. When he's banging into Joey.
Be a part of the voice of NASCAR. Call 844-4-ASK-MRN.
It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. Now here's more with Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Busy day here on the Straight Line. Thanks for everybody for joining us today. Your defending winners of the Gatornationals, Ron Capps and Greg Anderson, two of them especially, they did well last year. They've come out of the gates here in 2016 really strong.
Well, they are. They're early on a roll, and like Dave Rieff said earlier, the KB Racing team with Greg Anderson and Jason Line and Power for the Bo Butner guy, they've got a heck of a shot out there in front of everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think anybody would be that surprised to see that dominance continue for probably the first third or so of the year. I mean, with that performance advantage that they have, it's hard to get that in pro stock. So, generally the whole field is together by a tighter margin than what they have in this advantage on the other rest of the field. So that could be bad news for the rest of the pro stock guys.
Yeah, no question about that. Doug Coletta is the defending winner at Gainesville in the Top Fuel, and Karen Stouffer shocked the field last year by coming out of nowhere and winning in pro bike. So that's going to be interesting to watch as well. As we're in Gainesville, a little bit south of that is Orlando, and that's where Brakes is going to be this weekend.
We're going to have a Brakes school this weekend in Orlando. If you have a teenager anywhere, you're in the Orlando, Central Florida area, bring your teenager out to the Brakes class. Go on to putonthebrakes.org. Learn more about that.
Big thanks to Dave Rieff, Andrew Hines, Steve Johnson, and Matt Smith for joining us on today's Straight Line show. So for everybody involved, for Robbie, for Daryl, for everybody involved, we will join you next week right here on
You've been listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts and Hercules Tires. Tune in again next Thursday at noon Eastern on MotorRacingNetwork.com and the MRN app. The Straight Line is also available on demand at the MRN.com Media Center, or you can download it through iTunes or Stitcher. The Straight Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.